Today I'm going to tell you a secret that most people never ever learn. And it is simply this. The fastest way to feel rich is to stop chasing luxury. Simple. Because real wealth isn't about what you buy or what you show other people that you have. It's about the freedom you gain when you stop letting your ego, that thing, run your wallet. All right? So that's what we're going to hit on today, my friends. We're going to talk about H.E.N.R.Ys, high earning, not rich yet individuals.
Let's talk money. Let's talk money. Let's talk money. With the older man, he's got the wisdom, honey. Remember whenever you're in doubt, always ask an older man, he'll show you the right route. Oh, the wisdom of the elders is gold. They seen it all, they've been through the highs and the lows. So let's talk money. Let's talk money. With the older man, he got the keys to success, honey.
H.E.N.R.Y, okay? And I was about to do a money segment on how people spend in Dubai, you know? Because people come here and they get disillusioned, they get caught up in the luxury trap. And I have a few friends here who live here almost 22 years, and they're getting older. And I asked them, you know, how's the finances? You saved any money? And most of them said, yeah, we're in trouble, man. We're in trouble. We live the Dubai lifestyle. You know, we haven't been putting anything back into the pot in the UK. And yeah, we haven't made any money. So I need to find some new way to make money fast because retirement is coming up in the next 15 years and we don't have anything. And I look at their lifestyle that I have witnessed over the last 15 years and the luxury cars and the freaking brunches and the trips, the Bali trips and the freaking Thailand trips. And I've seen them do these amazing things. I didn't do that shit. And I was always thinking, man, they're making a lot of money, man. They're being smart with their finances. But they were not. So I was going to talk about that. And then a gentleman in the comment section recommended this video that I'm going to present today from CNBC. They had a segment on H.E.N.R.Ys, high earning, not yet rich individuals in New York. And I decided to take a look at it. And I thought it just tied in perfectly with this segment. So I'm going to use that as the featured video, and I'm going to review and critique it while giving you some other good information on conserving your wealth. Because my friends, as we get older, it gets rough. It gets rough. And this is what a lot of women don't understand. And the beautiful thing about this particular segment is they featured women. And it shows you how bad women spend in their mentality, even though they're earning more money. So let's get into it. Subscribe, like the video, please, on the way in. And of course, book a session if you need any help, my friends. Any help with life, mentoring, anything at all. And for those of you that don't know yet, I have started a mentorship program. I can only take 5 people at a time. Please understand the requirements. There is a fee to it because quite a few people didn't think that I was going to charge for this. Come on, guys. Come on. My freaking time is valuable as well. Right? All of these videos I produce on a daily basis, that's the best I can do free. And I can tell you, it takes a lot of work to put these things together. But all other consultations, I wish I didn't have to, but no. So this is going to come with a fee, and also it's going to come with a 3-month commitment. Okay? So you'll get 2 1-hour sessions per month or 4 half-an-hour sessions for the month. But you'll also have access to my phone number and my WhatsApp so that you can have access to me. I wouldn't say 24/7, but you will have access to me where I can respond almost immediately. Okay? I can only do 5 people at a time. All right? So if you're interested, let me know. I'll send you all the details once you drop me an email. paul@askanolderman.com. Okay? So let's get into the video, my friends.
For many Americans, work can feel like a hamster wheel. No matter how hard they run, it never feels like enough. Americans, on average, say they would need $520,000 a year to feel rich. And the more people earn, the more they say they need to feel comfortable. Americans making under $50,000 felt they needed $157,000 a year to feel comfortable.
All right. Listen to the word feel rich. Feel rich. Not to be rich. So you got to understand that that means that rich is subjective. And you know who really taught me that? My helper, my nanny that I had for 16 years. I was paying her $1,000 a month and she was happy. Now, understand that's a lot over here for a helper, because the same helper in the Cayman Islands from the Philippines would cost me 3 to 4 times more money. Okay? So please understand, don't get it mixed up. In the US, it will probably be 3-4 times more as well. But over here, cost of living isn't that much. Of course, she lived with me, so she didn't have to pay rent. She ate with me, right? Because she was cooking as well, so she can cook and she share food. So she didn't have any other expenses. I paid for her insurance. I paid for everything else. So that $1,000 is clear. And she was happy, right? So when she sent that money to the Philippines, her 8 kids, okay, went through high school and college with that money. Her husband only took care of the kids back home and took care of the farm. Think about that shit. But I had never seen such a happy woman. She got so much pleasure out of the simple things. The FaceTime calls with her family once a week where everybody's coming together and she's even a grandma and she's basically chatting to them. And she's my age. She's I think she's 1 year younger than me. But she would have a great time when the other nannies on the Friday day off, they would all come around chit-chatting, the cackling hens in her room, right? And they would all have a great time. And she was rarely sad. Sometimes she missed her family, but that was it. But she never really complained about money. And it always blew my mind, like, wow, this woman has so little, yet so happy. She looks young. She's always smiling and giggling. And so it was just always nice to see a happy person who was earning that amount of money. But it just taught me a few lessons about, it's not about how much you make. It's the people that you associate and surround yourself with. It's your family. Sorry, that was a little long. Let's get back to the video.
Those making $100,000 or more said they would need $246,000.
When I was in middle school, a song came out called Mo Money, Mo Problems. And I think that that's true. Your problems scale. You still are dealing with a finite number every month. Your worries, your anxiety, your budget scales to that. You still are dealing with a ceiling.
About 14% of all U.S. households make $200,000 or more every year. But many of them, dubbed H.E.N.R.Ys or high earners not rich yet, still don't feel rich. 62% of people with salaries over $300,000 a year struggle with credit card debt.
Earning doesn't actually make you feel rich. Spending it does. If most people spent 99% of their paycheck, they'd feel quite rich. And it's the paradox here. When we're in accumulation mode, it's very difficult to feel rich.
It can be pretty easy for someone to feel like I'm making really good money, but I don't have a lot of discretionary income.
Earning more and feeling like you're still on a hamster wheel is what a lot of H.E.N.R.Ys experience. And that's because they're not living within their means. They may have been living above their means when they weren't nearly making as much money. And now they're just continuing to add more and more and more.
I earn $300,000 and I live in New York City. I definitely don't feel rich. I feel very lucky. I feel privileged, but I do not feel rich. I could not stop working right now. I have more money anxiety almost now than I ever did in my 20s. I am on a hamster wheel and there's no question about it.
$300,000 and you're not happy. Incredibly overweight. She probably will kick the bucket a lot earlier than she would like to, simply because she's not healthy. And carrying that amount of weight and add stress to it, it's not going to end well for her. So all I'm trying to show you, gentlemen, is that you have to learn to live within the confines of what makes you satisfied. I think a survey was done back in like 2008 or something like that. And they wanted to determine how much money would an individual have to make in the West, where all of their financial needs were met and it would have made them feel comfortable. I'm going to ask ChatGPT if she knows that. I don't know if you know, there was a survey done a while back on how much money an individual would have to make that would make them completely satisfied and would no longer, and not even 1 cent would make them feel that they're needed more money to be happy. Do you know that survey?
I get what you're referring to, Paul. You're talking about that older study that basically pinpointed a kind of satisfaction threshold for income. Back then, they found that around $75,000 to $77,000 a year was enough to cover all the basic needs: housing, food, bills, that kind of thing. Basically, once you hit that level, the extra income didn't really add a lot more to day-to-day happiness or fulfillment of needs. It's a good example that fits right into your message. Once the essentials are covered, it's not really the extra luxury that makes people happier. It's that mindset shift again.
Right, but do you remember when that study was done?
Yeah, absolutely. That particular study you were talking about was actually done around 2010 by Daniel Kahneman and Angus Deaton. They found that about $75,000 a year was the point at which more money stopped having a big impact on day-to-day emotional well-being.
Now, fast forward and take into consideration inflation. What would that amount have to be today?
So taking inflation into account, that roughly $75,000 from 2010 would be about $111,000 in today's money. Basically, that's the updated number that would give you the same purchasing power and cover those same needs.
All right, thank you. Wow, $111,000 in America. Think about that shit. Now, how much money does the average individual actually own worldwide in dollars equivalent? Would you know that?
Let's see how rich you are compared to the rest of the world. What percentage of the world are you richer than if you have $500,000? If you had $500,000 in your bank/savings account, I think that you're in the top 1%. Okay, so you're richer than 99% of the world. This includes net worth, cash, bank savings, investments, home equity, minus your debts. What about $100,000?
I'm going to say you're in like the 70th percentile.
70th?
75th?
$100,000? Incorrect. 92% of the world you're richer than.
Oh, really? Damn.
What about $50,000? Half of $100K.
$50,000? I'm going to say 75th percentile.
87%.
Wow, so if you have a few $1,000, you're doing really well.
Just you wait, my friend. What about $10,000?
75th percentile.
Okay, this one you overshot a little bit. You're richer than 68% of people. $4,210.
50th percentile.
Yes, that was a pretty exact number. You're richer than 50% of the world. That's the global median. If you have $4,210 net worth, you're richer than 50% of the world. That's nuts.
So the average man in the U.S. can go to the Philippines, to Africa, Thailand, and if he maintains that income in those countries with a remote job, he becomes a top 10% man. Whereas in America, he's just an average guy. And this is what a lot of women just don't understand about when men actually move. They're worth more. It's not rocket science. We men get it, but women just cannot freaking get it, or they want to ignore that one point just so that they can blast men.
H.E.N.R.Ys often don't feel rich compared to others. Many H.E.N.R.Ys are cash rich and asset poor. So they're typically people under 40. They don't have childcare hours available. They're first-time home buyers in the housing market. They're paying off student loans early, hopefully. And their income usually hasn't hit a career peak. So they're very much in that not rich yet bucket, but they very well could be in the future.
Oh, I 100% feel like a H.E.N.R.Y.
Marie Contreras was a professional composer, band leader, and pianist who started her virtual assistant business in 2016.
That year, I started to grow slowly, and I was suddenly earning more money than I had ever earned in my life. And I think the number was something like $35,000 by the end of the year. And I went, wow, this is really great. I can grow this.
She then expanded into a digital marketing consulting agency during the pandemic.
For the calendar year of 2025, we're just on track to make 1.4 million. We're hoping to get to 1.5 or possibly even 1.6. I'm anticipating my owner's draw to be anywhere between 300,000 and 400,000. Had a pretty successful career as a musician through most of my 20s. The thing they don't tell you about having a career as a musician in music school is that you can be playing Carnegie Hall, which I was, and I was making $15,000 a year. And I didn't realize how much freedom money affords you. Now that I see the kind of freedom that somebody who earns what I do or even more has, that's my goal. That is absolutely what gets me out of bed in the morning.
A lot of the high earners, not rich yet, they're first generation wealth. So they still take their wealth into perspective against their family members or others in their community, and they realize how well they're doing. So they don't take it for granted. But I think what makes them feel not rich is we were told once you make six figures, all of your problems will go away. You'll just have so much excess. And I think we know that narrative is not true anymore.
I would have thought thought back then that the amount of money that I have in the bank right now, I would be rich. I would have just thought, oh yeah, she's made it, and I don't feel that way. I know that I am on a hamster wheel with my business. I actually really love the hamster wheel. I love what I do, but I also realize that I can't stop.
You cannot be happy with something that you have to do and you cannot stop. There is no way that you can feel like you're free. So people who tell me, I love what I do, but I can't stop, tells me that they have a serious issue. Because it will catch up to you eventually. It will mentally drain you. The best way to deal with this problem is you downsize your living, and that's pretty much what I did. When I started the YouTube and the money started flowing in, don't get me wrong, guys, I'm not freaking raking it in. It's just my income went up because I'm coming from a photography business that was slowly starting to get eroded by AI. Camera phones and AI started killing my business. And from photography, I started moving into videography, creating content. And then I made the switch to moving from behind the camera to the front of the camera. And that's when things changed for me. So I started making more than what I was making previously when I switched to photography. Prior to the photography, I was peaking in my 40s. I was peaking a little over 350,000 before I moved to Dubai and became a photographer. Okay. So that was back in the day when energy was up, everything was freaking kicking. And then I fell into a depression, and that's when I moved to Dubai. That's the short story. I don't like to give out too much of my details in that perspective, but the depression was caused because I started my first business at 19 years old. I signed my first lease, memorandum of articles, article of association, and set up my first business. And it was a fitness gym in the Cayman Islands. Back then, it was called Cayman Bodybuilding Club. I was a skinny runt, and I got into that business, and it became a very successful gym. Sold it all out to my best friend in the Cayman Islands, and he's ran it. Both of us ran it for almost 15 years, and then he took it over because I got burnt out from it. From then, I moved into marketing and publishing, Dunkin' Donuts and Baskin Robbins location. I had 4 Dunkin' Donuts location and Baskin Robbins. I also had a Remax office, Remax Real Estate. That's where I made most of my money, selling high-end properties to very wealthy Americans and Europeans and Arabs as well. Everybody wanted to buy real estate in the Cayman Islands. It's a tax haven, right? I had a pool hall, an upscale pool hall, where the governor used to come and play pool when I owned it. No jeans, no freaking caps on backwards, no ripped anything, everything. Very sophisticated, almost gentleman type club. Had a private photography studio, which still exists in the Ritz-Carlton over there. That's taken over now by my friend over there. And so I come from a plethora of businesses, and there's a bunch of other smaller businesses as well. But then when I hit 38, I started going to a depression. And it was hard for me to kick it. And because I wouldn't take drugs, I refused to take any drugs at all. My partner that was involved with me in the business of the Dunkin' Donuts, the franchises, he recommended I move to Dubai. Take a break, man. Cayman and Dubai, both tax havens, both hot. I didn't have a problem with that. So I decided to move because, hey, I don't like to pay taxes. All right. So long story short, when I came over here, I decided I'm going to take it easy and become a photographer, sort of a passion type job. I had accumulated enough funds to not have to stress about money. So I just decided to do something that I enjoyed. But because I'm a businessman, it freaking exploded as well because I didn't have to be the best photographer. I just had to be the best marketing and businessman to sell my product. That's what I'm good at. So I sold my business of photography very well. All of a sudden, I am freaking taking photos of celebrities all over India. Bollywood, I'm in there because I'm good at networking. I had movie posters. I was the top fitness photographer over here in Dubai, photographing the best of the best in the fitness industry, the finest bodies, males and females. And I tell you this story so that I can give you context that you're talking to someone with a shitload of experience with selling, with making money, etc. But of course, photography doesn't pay you like real estate does, my friends. But I was happy enough to come into that business because it was a passion job. And I had accumulated enough where I didn't have to stress too much. And plus, my wife wanted to work, so she made the bulk of the income as well, that maintained a very good lifestyle over here in Dubai, which was considerably less over here than it was in the Cayman Islands. Cayman Islands is the number 2 most expensive place in the world to live. So you guys understand. So, of course, cost of living dropped considerably, but my quality of living increased significantly because over here, I'm paying for an even better lifestyle at a fraction of the cost. So when the photography business started to slow down, I moved into YouTube. YouTube, my income jumped again. But what did I do? I didn't go and rent a nicer unit. I actually moved further away from the city, paying less now, still living a very, very nice lifestyle. Actually, it's even better. I have my community gym. I have pool, tennis courts. I have every freaking thing that I can imagine here. Most of the stuff I don't even use. We even have our own freaking private basketball courts. Everything. We have a community mall. Everything is here. So the lesson here is, even though my income went up, I dropped my costs. I brought my costs down. Because I know that, hey, man, I don't have a lot more productive years. I don't know how long this YouTube thing is going to last. With the advent of AI coming on board, I don't know how long most of us are going to last. So I'm basically going to try to make as much money and conserve as much money so that when shit hit the fan, not if, when it hit the fan, I'll still be okay. My family and I will still be okay. And that, my friend, is how I'm also teaching my wife. Let's listen to a little bit more about this Henry here.
So H.E.N.R.Ys often don't feel rich compared to others. They work very hard for their money, but they also spend a lot more than the average person.
In a lot of ways, H.E.N.R.Ys may be victims of their zip codes.
$100,000 in LA is definitely very different than $100,000 in Iowa. Someone makes $200,000 a year in LA. They're going to probably take home $140-ish. Rent for a 1-bedroom is going to be at least $3,000. Their car payment's going to be $700. Car insurance is going to be maybe $200 a month. Gas is going to be $200 a month. If you were to annualize that, that's $50,000 right there. The remainder is for all the other things. We haven't eaten yet. We haven't purchased groceries. We haven't paid for subscriptions to Amazon and Netflix. We haven't gone on vacation yet. We haven't purchased clothes yet. It can whittle away your discretionary income if you're living in an area that has a high cost of living.
When my business started to grow, one of the first things that I started spending more money on right away was food, because I don't have time to cook. I had more money than time. And so I started eating Grubhub 3 meals a day most days. After that, it became rent.
All she needed was to freaking get on a meal plan that would control her calories, that could get her ass in shape. Not freaking Grubhub. I'm being a bit facetious, but I'm trying to teach you guys a lesson. What's the sense of actually making all this money and you're out of shape and you're going to probably end up spending all the money that you've made to actually get your health back? It's no sense working hard, destroying your health, and then actually having to spend all of that money just to regain your health. Just note the lesson.
Because I hit $1 million a year in revenue and I said, that's it, I'm moving to Manhattan. And so my rent doubled and I suddenly was paying $4,000 in rent. What is very worth it to me is to live where I want to live. I was proud that I could live here. For about a year, I would walk outside my apartment and just look around and just be like, oh my gosh, here I am. So that was lifestyle creep for me.
Lifestyle creep is the common phenomenon of spending a little more money as you earn more. It can happen to anyone at any income.
Lifestyle creep can really sneak up on you. You start earning more and then you decide, well, I can buy more things. I need a second car. I need a bigger home. I need to go on this European vacation. I deserve this European vacation because I work hard for my money. The problem is if you're not continuing to increase your savings at the same time, you are putting your financial future in jeopardy.
That shift happens everywhere in our lives, from the small purchases to the really big ones. Cars, houses, vacation, and most of these expenses are fixed.
Lifestyle creep impacts almost all tax brackets, but it can take different forms. One 2024 study found that when low and middle income households were given an additional $1,000, no strings attached every month, their spending increased primarily on basic necessities, such as food, transportation, and rent. However, when higher income households were given the same $1,000, they increased spending on both necessities as well as discretionary expenses, like Marie did.
I spend more on my hair. I spend more on makeup. I get my lashes done. I get my nails done. I think it's just something that comes with the territory.
Nothing about her health. My nails and hair and lashes done. Oh, gosh, man. Oh, I really feel sorry for Americans. But this so-called spending creep, whatever the hell you guys like to label everything, the bottom line is that you fall naturally into this, I deserve to spend more because I make more. That is what catches each and every one of you. Now listen, in my young days, I went through the same shit. I remember the day I walked into a freaking car lot and bought a brand new freaking Mercedes S-Class straight off the lot, 75% cash. Okay? And within a month of driving around with it, the moonroof slide down and people seeing it, within a month to 3 months, the newness wore off. And I was just sitting in it going, why the hell I spent this much money on this car? Now, it did pull a lot of chicks. I had just gone through my divorce and I had a lot of fun with it. I took advantage of that, but it really was an empty feeling thereafter. So I'm just saying to you guys, I've been there. But thankfully, I didn't go through where I bought a bigger house or I bought a house, period. I didn't. Or I didn't move to any bigger location and spent more money. I didn't do that. I controlled that shit. But I did freaking buy a bloody expensive luxury car. Wasn't necessary. So listen, I don't really have much else to add to this particular subject. So the takeaway from this whole freaking lesson is simply this. If you're a Henry, you need to change your mindset in order to fix the problem so that you can gain enough wealth by purchasing assets that create more wealth, not by shit or liabilities that start to suck away at your lifestyle. And you don't get caught up in this idea that, oh, because I work so hard, I deserve it. Oh, I might die tomorrow. I might as well enjoy some of it. No, because there is also a 50% chance that you will survive. And what will ultimately make you feel rich is actually saving enough money so that you never have to feel stressed about not having enough money to maintain your current lifestyle. That is what you should ultimately strive for. Having enough assets and enough money put away, what I call FU money, whereby if a client is being an a-hole, if there is a boss involved, etc., you have enough put away to say, you know what, FU, I'm out. I don't need your money. I have enough security to put away so that your influence on me doesn't bother me. You have enough money that, hey, you get sick for 3 months, you don't have any income coming in, it's okay. I don't have to have that degree of stress. Hey, I am going through a depression. Take 2 to 3 years off. That was my intention. Take a couple of years off. Take 2 or 3 years off and just go and freaking enjoy yourself. And I took my whole family and just moved halfway around the world. Cayman Islands is over by Jamaica. Okay, 45 minutes from Florida. If you guys don't know where Jamaica is, and boom. I came all the way halfway around the world to Dubai to live. I came here with the intention to stay in 2 to 3 years. Loved it. Never had a day of depression since I left. Never went back home because I realized I could make money here. I can do quite well over here and still enjoy a lifestyle where I didn't have to stress myself out on a small island. And that was it. That's my story, my friends. So I hope you got some lessons from this. Like the video on the way out. Of course, book a session if you need any advice from me, if you need any mentoring, I'm here for you. Okay? So my friends, until tomorrow, remember, whenever in doubt, always ask an older man. I'll see you soon. Cheers.